Hello, everyone. My name is J.W. Collier from X-Stop Writing and my Sober Militia blog. I'm here again today with Bobby C., and we are going to have a little discussion about programs within sobriety and whether they are necessary or not. So, Bobby, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello everybody. My name is Bobby C. And like I said last podcast, I'm a friend in recovery and beyond. And I'm going to be co-hosting this Sober Militia podcast today with John. And I just appreciate what he's doing and what he's been doing and done already to help a lot of people. I joined in on one of the meetings this week, and I really enjoyed that. I guess I'm going to start off by just saying, my intentions today is to not manipulate, persuade, not impose my will. I don't want to impose my beliefs or my understandings or my ideas on anyone. That's not my intention of this podcast. I give everybody the right to believe what they believe, and that's what I'm all about. And it's possibly I could help someone. I can point them in a direction of maybe some options and some choices. And my main thing is to help other people maybe take away some of the fears, the guilt, the shame, the stigma of addiction and recovery. So I just wanted to put that out first, John.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think, it's important to remember that, we all are on our, our individual journeys with sobriety, and I don't think there is any one correct answer, right? We have to find our own, and that's kind of what brought us to this idea of talking about programs today, because there are some beliefs out there that suggest that you have to be in a program in order to be successful, and there's some strong opinions in that regard. I think, I believe you started out in programs and kind of worked your way through that, and I was kind of the exact opposite. Like we said last video cast, was one of the things we liked about this is you've been in sobriety and recovery for 35 years, and I've been going on 4 months. So we're on opposite ends of the spectrum and have very different, we bring with us different things into this conversation. And for me, I hadn't even, seen a program. So I had no idea what that even looked like. I kind of just found a way to, develop my own. So it's kind of interesting to think how that would work. So, being someone who's had that experience, Bobby, what do you think about, how programs are, what is their place in sobriety?
Well, I'd like to start off by saying that, I would never tell anyone to stop your program. I would never tell anybody to run away from your program, go to this other program. I'm not here to tell anybody what to do with their program. I'm here maybe to, one of my main things is to tell people it's okay, even if you're in a program or if you're not in a program, to check out other programs, to check out SMART. Maybe you want to go to I think, John, you went to a couple of Alcoholics Anonymous meetings, but to check out the different types of meetings, it can't hurt.
Right.
And like Alcoholics Anonymous says, the only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. Well, guess what, John? You have the desire. Does that make you a member of Alcoholics Anonymous? I guess so, huh? But you have the desire. I have the desire, and that's all that is really required of us. I'll just stop on that note.
Okay. I think when I think about programs, I think about, there are definitely benefits, right? And I think that what we can find maybe through this conversation is that while there are benefits to those kind of programs and things, there's also benefits that you can find that are very similar without, and that's what I've found. But one of the benefits, I'd say probably the two biggest benefits I would think for programs is structure. Having a structure that you can walk into and know that there's an expectation of what you need to do, right? Because I think a lot of times when we're going into our recovery, we're a little bit chaotic and don't really know what, what it is we want to do or what we should do or how we should go about it. Right. So the structure's good. And then of course the second would be the community. There's a built-in community. All you have to do is walk into a room. And so those two things I think we could easily both agree that those are benefits. But then it comes down to, can we find those same things without programs?
Definitely. No, I agree with that. The community is a big deal. And that's what we're doing here. Well, that's what you're doing, really. You're forming a community. And I think you're on Facebook, you're on Twitter, you're on this podcast, you're writing, you're on X Stop writing, you got the Sober Militia. So you are creating a community, or we are together. Yeah. I mean,
anybody who's a part of it
is the community. So in that aspect, what I see probably is going to happen is people, even though they go to face-to-face meetings still, they're going to continue this online community, because now seeing the benefits of it, where you can be talking to somebody in the East Coast, Australia, you could be talking to somebody anywhere in the world, and especially in the United States, we have a 3-hour difference. But I think on one of the meeting we had Friday, we had a couple people from Alabama and back east, and I'm originally from back east, so that's a 3-hour different window. But your meeting starts at 5, so it gives everybody the chance to come in on that. I definitely agree. For me, in the beginning, that fellowship, a friend came to me. They call them sponsors in Alcoholics Anonymous. I think in Smart Recovery, they call them mentors. But a friend came to me and he asked me, he said, you know what? He came over my house and told me a story about himself. And he said, if you'd like to go to a meeting, I'll take you, And that's how it started for me.
Okay. Yeah, I think the community part is big. And what I hear a lot of people talk about is that it feels lonely, to go down this road. Because generally speaking, I think as, people using alcohol or any substance, because there's some stigma involved with it, we tend to surround ourselves with people who are doing the same thing. Right. And we do that long enough. And then when we decide to pull ourselves out of that, then we're no longer part of that group anymore, because that group that we used to hang out with is still using or doing whatever it is we're trying to get away from. And so almost immediately, day one of quitting an addiction, you're isolated, right? And that's scary. It's a scary place to be. And I think that's what kind of inspired my my direction, with the writing and creating, the group on Facebook and doing the online meetings. And I'm kind of individually, I wouldn't call it mentoring or, sponsoring anybody, but I'm definitely communicating with people all the time that are having hard times or struggling, and just doing it via Messenger, and it's this small community that is being built through just like-minded people, right? There's no structure. There's no expectation. It's just, hey, if you want to be here, you're welcome. And what I tell everybody is just, reach out anytime. I try to answer any message I get. And I've even given my phone number out a few times just to try to keep people, having options, I think.
Yeah, I'd like to state one other thing. They call it anonymity in Alcoholics Anonymous. Mm-hmm. I respect, because there's going to be a lot of people that watch this and know I've been going to Alcoholics Anonymous for 36 years. I got 36 years in recovery. Yeah. February 27th, 1984. But wow. So I've been to so many meetings. They talk about anonymity. I break my anonymity. I don't believe in it today, but I respect everyone else. I don't think I've ever broken anybody's anonymity in 36 years. I respect everybody else's anonymity. I would never tell anybody who I seen or what I heard in a meeting. When I see people, I leave it up to them. If they want to come up and say, hey, Bobby, remember at the meeting? Yeah, okay, what's happening? But I just wanted to put that out for people that are in Alcoholics Anonymous, so when they listen to this, they know that I'm allowed to break my anonymity, and I don't let other society dictate what I should do, because that's one of their traditions, and that's okay if you want to stick to that on your own anonymity. But I'm cool breaking it. So if anyone needs to hook up with me, we'll get them some numbers and emails and stuff like that. You want to call it a mentor. I still call Bobby C friend in recovery and beyond. So anyone's
Sure.
welcome to put any comment or get to me and ask me any questions they like.
Well, yeah. Speaking of which, Bobby, I should I'll invite you to my Facebook group, and because I'm trying to start up a little program within that group where there is a mentorship kind of an element that people who would like to be mentors can just sign up for that, and then people who would like a mentor can reach out. And if you're willing to do that, I'll put you in there and get you hooked up in that way.
Yeah, that sounds good. The only thing is I dropped out of
Oh,
Facebook.
you did? Okay.
So I'm not on Facebook right
All
now.
right.
Yeah, but the reason why I did is just political and stuff. I don't want to get into all that
Yeah,
all
for
that
sure.
stuff. But I may go back in. I could do my anonymous addiction, and
Yeah, there you
I
go.
think that might still be hooked up, and I could go. Oh yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
a
Well, we'll check it
program.
out. I think
I
it'd be good.
always look up. Let's do it. I always
Yeah.
look up words. I always like look up. I Google them and look up words and definitions. And a program, it says a set of related measures or activities with a particular long-term goal, aim, or plan.
Okay.
Okay, and I think that's what you're doing. So I don't see any difference in that. You have a long. You have a we say we do this thing one day at a time, and actually we do it right now. We don't even do it
Yeah.
one day at a time. We're doing it right this moment.
Yep. I
But
agree.
I do have for me personally, I have a long-term goal, and my long-term goal, believe it or not, my long-term goal is to die sober, without drinking.
Yep.
And I believe some people can use moderation. Some people can drink again. Some people can use harm reduction or Sinclair method or freedom model. I don't care what they use. But for me, I like abstinence. Here's a reason why. If even somebody said to me, Bobby, you learned enough. You've been around for so long, and maybe your brain is rewired, and you can drink again. After that. And I would say to them, you know what? I don't want to because
Yeah.
first of all, I don't want to spend the money. Man, that alcohol is expensive.
Yeah.
Number two, it's a carcinogen. It's a cancer causing agent. Number three, I don't want a hangover. And I don't care
Mhm.
if you drink one or two, they give you hangovers. And you
Yeah.
know what? People that socially drink, they get DUIs, you
Yep.
know. They have domestic violence. They get in all kinds of trouble. So for me, this is just for me. I I I go for abstinence. Abstinence is I don't use any alcohol or drugs. A prescription I will if the doctor prescribes something, some type of medication. I do. So I just wanted to put that out,
Yeah.
for
No, I
listeners.
agree 100%, Bobby. I know, like I said last time, my wife and I both went into sobriety at the same time, and she was really strict on it just being a month. She wanted to do 30 days and see how she felt. And I was more leaning towards, I kind of just want to make this a lifestyle change, And both of us, once we got rolling on this, we hit our 30-day mark. It wasn't even a question about whether we wanted to try to do it again or, moderate or do anything. There's just no place for it in my life anymore. And like you said, the hangover just alone, you can't buy that kind of happiness to wake up every morning feeling good, refreshed, ready to take on the day. Like my blogs, I do first thing in the morning every single day. And it's, 1,000 words plus that I sit down and write and knock out. And I wouldn't be able to do that if I wasn't thinking straight or thinking clear, So I love that part. It's
That's
huge.
right.
And of course it's just
Yep.
friggin' unhealthy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Getting back to the programs. Actually, it does say in the definition, a series of coded software instructions to control the operation of a computer. And and this is what I found out. My
Yeah.
mind is a computer. Okay. The consciousness, I think, is kind of separate from the mind, but my mind is a computer. So here's just a message to point out. Some people come into a program, they come in because they have to, through courts, through detoxes, through intervention, through treatment centers, and some do come into programs on their own. So the word program, you're going to be programmed no matter where you go into a meeting, because that's what it is. It's a program, right? Here's my question, or here's what I would ask a question, is that be careful of the program, because is it your program, or is it
Right.
some other program that's manipulating you into their program? I believe in freedom. I fully believe in freedom. And when I first came into Alcoholics Anonymous, I believed in it back then. But I believe that you got to question things, and it doesn't matter. The fellowship, like you mentioned earlier, John, the fellowship, the friendship is really, and the friendship and the desire is really probably the most important thing. I know people that don't do any of the other program stuff
Yeah.
and still stay sober.
Yeah.
I just wanted to put that out.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, let's think about, how do what can we offer here, Bobby, as two people who are doing this without a program, to people who might be considering, whether that's the right option or not. And for me, community is easy. If you get on any social media, do a search, hashtag sobriety, recovery, anything, you're going to come up with thousands and thousands and thousands of people talking about sobriety. Easy way to connect with people and start talking about, your experience and experiences of others. There's forums out there all over the place. There's lots of ways to find that community. So I think that's the easiest one to, to get involved in. Right. The harder one would be that structure piece, because I hear a lot of people talk about how, what do I do? How do I start? If you get on some of these groups on Facebook, some of these sobriety groups, you'll see every day people saying day one again, day one again, day one again, right? How do we help people find that structure that they may get from a program if they don't want to use a program? How do we help them find that structure? Because I think that's the piece that's really the missing link for a lot of people in the beginning.
Well, I would say, I'm stretching a little bit, but you could disagree with me or agree with me. But I think that you are the minority, not the majority.
Right.
Okay, so I'll put that out right there. The percentage I really wouldn't be able to say, but it's small. It's not real big. Okay, it's a small percentage of people that can do it on their own. Anybody can do it on their own. Anybody. Everybody can do it on their own. Okay, so what happened? What was the circumstances?
Well, I'm saying I didn't do it on my own because, I had a couple of things. One is, my wife and I did it together. And I think that's probably one of the biggest benefits a person can have is, having a partner that understands and supports what you're doing. So that was huge. But then I got involved in the social media things and the writing and all that immediately. So I immediately started building a community. And so I can't say I did it on my own at all. I think just having people to write to every day with this blog, if one person read it, that was enough inspiration to write another. And so those people that were reading my blog or that still are reading my blog are part of my community that I've built. Right. So I definitely wouldn't say I did it alone, but I understand what you're saying, but I just wanted to clarify that because.
Okay. I'm going to clarify what I just said. When I made that statement, I meant to say in a program, went to a program, did it alone or went to a program.
Gotcha. Okay.
And the program, when I say program, when I say program, I'm talking about the ones that, come on, I don't care. You got to ask yourself, how did you get into Anonymous? What brought you there? And I would say I don't know. I'd probably go out on a limb and say 90% came in through circumstances, really not their choice. So they came in
Okay.
and went into a program. Were they going to do it on their own? Maybe, maybe not. But the thing is that they came into a program not through their own will. Okay, they were
Yeah.
kind of like put in there. Now, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that because once you're in there, I see all the different programs have the same element, and the one element that they all have is me, is you, is us,
Yeah.
is the person, is with the inner person. Okay, so they all have the same element, and that's me. And I believe 100% that we are the ones that create this program inside of us, no matter what. If you're in a program, if you're an Alcoholics Anonymous, Smart Recovery, Life Ring, if you're doing any type of a harm reduction, I don't care what it is. You know, harm reduction is a process of they use but they still do therapy. Like I know that you did therapy, right? And
Yep.
I did therapy, and they're still doing therapy until they maybe can get to a place where they want to change or make a change, you know. So I don't know where I'm going with that. I kind of went off in some tangent on that, but
That's all right.
you know,
Well, I think the therapy point is a good point too, right? Because for me, what that, I wrote about that today, as a matter of fact, that, I was in therapy for over a year before anything really clicked, and I had someone who I consider to be one of the, most amazing people I've ever met as my therapist. And she kept trying to drill into me a few things, and I was fighting it. I was resistant. I couldn't grasp it because I needed to really understand. And what it really came down to was just perception, you know, being able to understand that the way we see something is true until we change the way we see it, right? And that was the switch for me with alcohol. Was the day I was able to look at alcohol as something that I did not define myself by, or that I did not want in my life, was the day that it just was gone. I didn't want it anymore. And that was perception, and that came from therapy for me. So that's another element of something outside of a program setting.
yeah, it's I like that because I see the future. The verbiage is going to change. The words are going to change. The word alcoholic, alcoholism,
Yeah.
powerless. It's changing now. I mean, it's
Yeah.
changing now. The modalities are changing. You know, like recovery dharma is a Buddhist practice, which really isn't religious. It's a philosophy, and
Yeah.
they don't use alcoholics or addicts or uh, different types of powerless. They believe it all comes from us. Smart
Yeah.
recovery is science based, and it believes in that we have the power to choose. Discover the power of choice,
Yeah.
and
Which is the
yeah,
opposite of powerless.
exactly. And my
Yeah.
point is that just who knows? You like next year may or this year may decide to check out Smart Recovery and go to a
Sure.
meeting or two. You may go to a Smart Recovery meeting once a week or just once in your life, but you may decide to go and check it out
Yeah.
just for some additive tool. You may
Yeah.
decide to go, Alcoholics Anonymous, there's a secular AA, Secular Alcoholics Anonymous.
Yeah.
It's a spinoff, and it's been in existence for years and years and years and years, and people don't even know about it.
Hmm.
So I think recovery is going away from dogma,
Right.
and going more towards secular in a sense. So it encompasses more humans, more people that are allowed to participate without the dogma and without the stigma or the guilt or shame.
Yeah.
So programs are great. Not having a program is great. I believe in checking things out,
Hmm.
checking other places out, and pick up a book. Can't hurt
Absolutely. Yeah.
anybody.
Yeah. The reading I did a couple things in accordance with my day one of quitting. And that was, I started reading This Naked Mind by Annie Grace. I started writing my blog. And those two things were kind of the pinnacle for everything for me. It just made it easy, and I'm still in this belief that there are two ways of becoming sober, and one is easy and one is hard. And I think the path you end up on is dependent a lot on, I think, how you're approaching that path.
Exactly. Well, I said it in the last podcast. I think whatever the mind can conceive and
Absolutely.
believe, it will achieve.
Yeah.
And I fully, if we only knew how much power we have,
Yeah.
In one of my new blogs that I'm going to putting out there with Anonymous Addiction is I'm going to be talking about some pros and cons with the meetings of Alcoholics Anonymous. And people will say I'm bashing it. People will say you're negative. People will say all kinds of stuff that I'm doing. But you know what? I'm trying to help set people free. Not free from the program, but free from the dogma that is over 80-something years old,
Yeah.
And I'm here to help people, not to hurt people. My intention is not to have people run away from their program, but to be able to be comfortable where they're at and know that they have this freedom inside of them. When you're told you don't know anything, don't do it your way got you in trouble. Actually, when we were using, our way did work. Our drinking did work for us. It took us to a place where we wanted to go to escape responsibility. So in a sense, we were doing something for ourselves, even though it was negative, we were doing it. So if we were doing that, that means I have the ability and the power to go the other way. Like you said, John, do it hard or do it easy, So I have the power to come in, learn some new things, but know that it's my responsibility. I hear a lot of people, they come into Alcoholics Anonymous and they go back out. And then when they come back in, they say, oh, I drank because I didn't do step 4. I drank because I didn't get the first step. I drank, you know what? The fact of the matter is they drank because they wanted to drink.
Yep. Made the choice.
They made the choice. I have to always say this too. I chose to pick up my first drink or drug. That was a choice. I don't care if I was 12 years old, which I was. It was a choice, but I did not choose to get addicted.
Right.
That wasn't a choice. I did not choose to become addicted to the alcohol, the substance, or the process addiction. I didn't choose that. It happened through a process, okay? But then I had a choice. Then it came again back to a choice. And I had the choice to say yes to help. Okay, that was a choice. And I made that choice. And you made the choice. And we all make the choice, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a beautiful choice once you understand it, right? And you make it. That life changes really quick. And that's the hard part for me with, some of the things I'm doing right now and the people I'm talking to and trying to help through some of these things is when you see that when it doesn't work for them, it's a little bit heartbreaking, so that's one of the things I'm trying to learn real quick is that I know that this is that's part of the deal, and people are going to make that choice to use again. And there's nothing we can do about that. But the way I keep telling people, and this is one of the things from the programs I don't like at all, is that idea of relapse and the fact that if you do, you have failed. That bugs me a ton. To me, the way I approach people and when they, message me and say that they drank last night. And my first question is, well, I'll say something like, well, are you still planning on quitting? And if they say, yeah, then I say, okay, well, you haven't failed then. You're still trying to quit. And, as long as you keep actively making those steps and making those decisions to try to not drink, I think you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, right? Just because you relapse once doesn't mean you failed, as far as I'm concerned.
I believe that 100%. Just to give a little disclaimer to that relapse, I'll talk about relapse a little bit quickly, but there are people that do relapse and die. Okay, I just got to put that out.
Yeah.
I just got to put that out because these people didn't die in vain. They're the ones that are like my crystal ball. There is a chance that possibly I may not come out of it. I may die. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that to scare anybody. That's just a reality. But here's
Right.
about relapse, getting back what you said about relapse. I agree with it. It's like going to fifth grade. Okay, so you learned a lot of stuff in fifth grade, then you went out and drank. Did you forget everything you learned in fifth grade? No. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like people go to these programs and they might be in 5, 6, 10 years and they go back out and relapse. Okay. They didn't lose anything. Everything they learned, they still have, and they still
Yeah,
have
for
the
sure.
ability to process that and bring it to the consciousness. And matter of fact, they're going to come back quicker. See, they're going to
Yeah.
come back quicker and easier because of the lessons they learned. So you don't lose that stuff. You know, time, especially in Alcoholics Anonymous, they give out coins, and these coins, and people really rely a lot of stuff on these coins and time. Time is an illusion. We always just have now. All we have is experience, you know, good and bad experience. I have 36 years of good and bad experience, but I have only now, same time that you have and same time that everybody else has. So with this relapse stuff, try, you know, the fear, the guilt, the shame, the stigma about
Yeah.
it, try to let that go if it's possible. You know, I don't believe in it.
That's my biggest concern is I feel like, if you're an addict in the first place, you have issues with failure, right? Already. And that's one, it's one of the reasons you become an addict, I think, sometimes. And so to tell someone they failed because they slipped, for one day, to me just is absurd, right? It's a mistake. You learn from the mistake, you move forward, you keep going, right? And I just feel like you just take off where you left off, and this idea of labeling people as failures just really annoys me. I don't like it at all.
No, it's not a failure. People, when I first came in, let's use the word relapse. When I first came in, I've stayed sober 36 years without a lapse or relapse. But you know what? I had all my lapses and relapses back
Yeah.
then. I used to
Yep.
stop. People don't understand it. Even before I knew Alcoholics Anonymous, I was relapsing over and over again. I
Yeah.
would promise my wife, "Oh, honey, I'll never do it again." Promise my wife over and over and over. "Oh, I quit. I'm quitting." Then I'd
Yeah.
have a relapse. Okay.
Right.
I'd have a relapse. The difference is, though, that I wasn't learning much. But when you're in a program or you're trying to change yourself, that stays with you. That
Yeah.
doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah. I think that's my thought. It's as long as you're actively taking steps towards sobriety, whether you do use again or not is not really the end all of the whole thing. No. So.
Exactly.
Well,
Let me, you know what? Let me just say, I just want to say this one thing about these words that we use. Sober.
yeah.
Sober. Sober is an adjective. It means the opposite of drunk. That's all it means.
Yeah.
I'm sober. I'm not drunk. Okay. It's like a somber. It's sober. It's kind of like, you know, these words that we use, like I'm sober today. Okay, I'm not drunk today, but I like the different types of words. You know, I'm on a life journey of change and discovery. And I believe recovery is like it's a discovery. Recovery is a discovery of things that I don't know yet. You know,
Yeah.
verbiage, even the word addiction or sobriety or recovery. Look them up and kind of analyze them a little bit. And I like the word recovery because I'm always in recovery.
Oops. Looks like Bobby dropped out on there. We were kind of coming up on the half hour anyway. Oh, wait, looks like he's back. See if we get him back. But I agree with Bobby with the idea of words. I tend to, if you've read my blog at all,
What
you'll see that
happened,
I
John?
tend to bring out the dictionary quite often, look at words and look at their meanings, because a lot of times I think there's hidden meanings within the definitions of words that we don't always think about. And so I'm very much the same way. I love words. I love kind of seeing how they can relate in different ways to what we're doing. And Sorry, Bobby, we lost you there for a sec. So I was just kind of jumping on your idea about words and definitions.
Yeah, we're good. Cool. Yeah, we need to
So
look up some words.
yeah,
So this
there's
was a
a.
good. This
Have
Go
you
ahead.
heard that quote by? I think his name is. I think it's Johan Hari. He makes a statement where he said, "Sobriety, the opposite of addiction is not sobriety; it's connection." Have you heard that?
No, but that's the
It's
connection.
pretty
Yeah,
cool, yeah. And I think it has to do with that idea of connection with people and community and that kind of stuff.
exact connection with the higher self,
Yeah,
connection with this consciousness, this awareness, connection with awareness and consciousness and higher self, and and more knowledge, more understanding about life. Yeah, definitely.
yeah. I think
I
it's
like that.
wonderful. Cool. Well, so Bobby, you and I have been talking. We're going to make this a weekly thing, I believe. We'll come up with different, topics and ideas to talk about every week. And I think Wednesdays, does that work for you?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So we'll keep this going, and we'd really love to get some feedback from anybody who's watching this or listening to this video cast or podcast, and leave some comments. Let us know what you guys think. And even more importantly, we'd love to know what you would like to, hear us talk more about. I think we're both pretty open to exploring any options or ideas or plans or, programs or whatever, whatever's out there, because I think knowledge is power in this circumstance, and the more we can learn and the more we can see other people's experiences and understand, what people are doing and what's working, what's not working, I think it's the answer to all this, right? So as
Exactly.
far as ways to reach us, I'm on xstopwriting.com. My blog's on there. The videocast podcasts are on there. Bobby's on Twitter. That's kind of your main one, right?
Well, I just started a Anchor FM, which you could
Oh, good.
click on that, and it goes to Spotify and I guess Google Play
Yeah, I'm
and
doing the same
different.
thing. Yep.
Yeah, so that's that. But you could find that on Anonymous Addiction, and I'm a little, I stir up a little bit of controversy among us AA members, which I'm always glad to do because it makes us think, question, observe, and become aware of new ideas and new things, new beliefs.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of our point here, isn't it? Just
Yeah.
to offer some new ideas, some new thoughts, get people thinking, get people talking, right? I mean, that's kind of the ultimate idea here, I think.
Hey, look, we're
Awesome.
living proof. We're
Yeah.
living proof. And I've seen thousands and thousands and thousands of people recover. So if you want this deal, it's yours. It's yours to have.
Yep. Yep. Awesome. Well, thanks again, Bobby, for doing this. We'll talk again next week, and we'll come up with a new topic and explore that as we move forward with these video casts.
Sounds great, John. So
All right.
everybody stay tuned for Sober Militia, and we're going to be signing off, and we hope to see you in the next podcast. Take care,
Sounds good.
everybody.
Take care, everybody. Stay sober.